Secret Lair has just dropped a whopping 26 card Secret Lair, going all the way from A to Z. So in this video we're going to see, is this thing actually worth it? A brand new Secret Lair Countdown kit called An Encyclopedia of Magic. This comes with a whopping 26 cards, all wrapped with pretty much 2 cards in them, I think, one with the letter and then one with what the card is. When it comes to this, all these cards are foil and some of them are in rainbow foil. Every one of these cards are made by a different artist, showing a completely different card, so there's no duplicates, and has already sold out by the time I've been able to make this video, but it was 200 quid. This is kind of their calendar not calendar type of thing that they do. They tried it a few years ago where they did do an advent calendar, but this is slightly different, but seems to be a very weird and interesting product. Going through the entire alphabet from A to Z, showing an amazing card with each of the letters, is a really cool collector's piece in my opinion. I would love to see this in a giant frame with the letter card next to it and then the card itself. But I'm going to be rating this differently from how I rate my other videos. To me, this seems more of a collector's piece than a playable piece. So what I'm going to do is at the end separate this into 2 categories: collectible and playable. Because the main thing is each player is going to be completely different, so some of them might only want maybe 5 to 6 cards, some will want 10 to 15, and some of them will want 20. So it depends on the player and how they build their decks to make this playable. But since it's got a bunch of different artists, comes in a big massive like box thing where you get 26 of them, and comes in many different variations and styles, it seems to be a very collector piece too. This is also perfect for content creators who want to do a video every day showing off the card and their thoughts and opinions. This is also counted as a premium product, so I will probably be harsher on it than I would with other products. So let's see if the 200 price tag is actually worth it. When it comes to this, I say there should be some high-end playable cards, some well-known cards, some cards that are in majority or every deck like Soul Ring and stuff like that, and then some very kind of harder and rarer cards, but a whole lot that have a price tag on them, mainly because I can see a handful of people throwing the 200 quid just to get that one card they really want, that's like 50 plus quid, in a beautiful art that they enjoy. But spoilers alert before I go any further in this video, if you want and have bought this and want a complete surprise, do not continue watching. Go watch many of my other videos. When it comes to this, I will be going through each card individually, explain what the card does, and then give my thoughts and opinions on the art and the playability of it. So if you don't want any spoilers, please go right ahead. So now that that's out of the way, let's start off with A for Altar of the Brood. For 1 generic, you get an artifact that is a rare. Whenever another permanent you control enters the battlefield, each opponent mills a card. Kicking this off with a very good and powerful mill card and one of my favorite cards. This card is so good and I keep forgetting that this actually also counts. The amount of times I've forgotten when people go, I play a land, and I have to go, yeah, I forgot, lands count too. This card is one of my favorite mill cards because it's cheap and effective. This seems to be a reimagining of the one where it has the snake in the art in a really cool and amazing, actually I really do like the artwork of this one. This is one I would probably get as a single. The color and the texture of the cards really pop out. They make it really do look 3D for a 2D space. And the fact that this is played in a lot of combo pieces is going to be such a good card for collectors and mill lovers. Overall, on the first card, I am impressed with the collectability of it and the playability of it. B, Brain Freeze. For 1 and a blue, you get instant. Target player mills 3 cards. I absolutely love the art of this card. It literally says what the card is called, and it's very simple to read. The only pretty much kind of downside is the fact that the 1 and the blue is very separate, but to be honest, that is completely fine with me. This is a really good mill card because you're paying 2 mana for someone to mill 3 cards. The only downside is its target, and when it comes to mill, you kind of need all opponents. You don't need to, but it's better to have all opponents milling cards than hard focusing on 1. But it is a very cool and powerful card still. This card is also a classic in Storm decks, milling an opponent out absolutely completely outright with a very high Storm count. This kind of reminds me of those 1950s kind of era, especially like on an ice cream truck I could picture this, so I do really love the aesthetic of it. It is a mixture of gross and genius all in one card, but when it comes to playability, especially in Commander, it is not the best choice, but the artwork makes it absolutely worth it. This is going to be more on the completion side to me than the playable side. C. Crop Rotation. For a green, you get an instant that is a rare. As an additional cost to this spell, sacrifice a land. Search your library for a land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This is a card I've always wanted to get my hands on and has just never done. I find Crop Rotation such a good card, especially early game or in decks with landfall or land recursion, as I would probably call it. I always like the fact that you're kind of getting rid of a basic land. You're getting rid of like the basic land or the land you tapped to play this, to get any dual color like filter land, shock land type of card, because it's any land in your deck, where a lot of people I've seen get this and get Fable Passage. So this card is such a good card and can be played on turn 1, which is absolutely amazing. It pretty much just swaps your green forest out for any dual land that is way better or the best land in your deck. The artwork is very cutesy and 3D. It kind of reminds me of the Adult Swim claymation stuff, which again I'm a big fan of. So to me this is playable and also collectible. Really good Secret Lair. If they ever done a Secret Lair, I think this would be an amazing card to put in pretty much all of them. D. Demonic Consultation. For a black, you get an instant. Choose a card name, exile the top 6 cards of your library, then reveal cards from the top of your library until the revealed card's name is chosen. Put that card into your hand and exile the other cards revealed this way. This one is a weird art to me. I wouldn't say it's bad, but just not my style. I think it is a good art card overall, and I do see a lot of playable effects for it. However, the card ability is not the best. On the website itself, it was like Demonic Tutor, I think was the original card's name. So again, I was more happy for that than this one. I think it's one of the weaker tutors in my opinion, and for a premium product, not the best. So again, this is the first kind of art card, or this is the first Secret Lair card where I'm like, the art is okay, and the card selection is meh. So again, we're only on D, and the fact that the thing is lowering is not a good thing overall. E. Eerie Ultimatum. For 3 black, 2 white, and 2 green, you get a sorcery that is a rare. Return any number of permanent cards with different names from your graveyard to the battlefield. This card feels familiar and also not familiar at the same time. It seems like they've done this Secret Lair before. It kind of reminds me of the promo card from the PlayStation, not the PlayStation one, the one before that, if you spend a large amount of money. So this feels like it's been done before, where they said that this has been done with many different artists. So again, they might have done just different styles, which I'm fine against. And it could just be a me thing here, but I thought they were going in with completely brand new styles that haven't been done before. The card selection is really good. It is a very mana heavy card. However, in Commander and Singleton, this gets so many cards back because you're not playing any doubles or triples or anything like that. I'm not the biggest fan of this art. I find it a bit too messy and it was quite difficult to read, but I can see people enjoy this card at least. F for Field of the Dead. It is a land that is a rare. Tap at a waste. Whenever this or another land you control enters, if you control 7 or more lands with different names, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. This card reminds me of the Don't Hug Me I'm Scared Everyone's Afraid of Michael song, the kind of comic book or the Harry Potter section of the film where they talk about the three wizards getting the ring, the cloak, and the stone, I believe. It is that weird kind of old-esque comic, like brown paper, kind of horror type of stuff. I do like the look of this card. And then the card selection itself is also very powerful. This is a very powerful land because pretty much what it is if you're playing a landfall deck or you're playing a deck that ramps a lot, you are literally getting a free body or attacker every one of your turns because you're not really having basics in. You're putting in a lot of different cards and then you're searching a bunch of different cards. So again, you're able to ramp off and have lots of zombies. G for Grey Merchant of Asphodel. For 3 generic and 2 black, you get a creature zombie that is a rare. Whenever this creature enters, each opponent loses X life, where X is your devotion to black. You gain life equal to the life lost this way and is a 2/4. This is one of those great cards, great art aspects. Putting this in a 2 or 3 color deck is not worth it, but this in a mono black deck is, in my opinion, a must. Even if you're not gaining life, if you're playing a lot of creatures that are not tokens and playing a lot of enchantments and stuff like that and have a lot of black pips, pulling this might give you the turn or two needed to help you win the game. It is such a good card, especially if you're able to flicker it as well, but I think you need to go on white then, unless you do Graveyard Recursion. So again, this is such an amazing card and the art of it is beautiful. I love this art. I love the fact that it actually looks like 3D. I love the fact that it is literally like it kind of reminds me of the original God of War stuff. So again, this is a great Gary card. H, Hymn of Turach. For 2 black, you get a sorcery. Target player discards 2 cards at random. I apologize on this one if I got the card text wrong. I got the actual card art and not the original, so some of these are going to be hard to read and I only realized it now. But when it comes to this card, I'm not a big fan of it. For 2 black, I think it's 2 black because the card was kind of hard to read. Someone discards 2 cards at random. It's kind of good. The randomizing thing is kind of not. I would rather put, I think it's Thespian Stage, that you only get 1 but you get to pick at least, I think is really good. The only reason I would put this in is if people are good at reading kind of body language, but then again you get people that will like stare at the card that they don't want milled or staring at the card they want milled to kind of put off the person on picking at random. So again, it is such a weird kind of card. The art is good quality, just not my style, and I find it too messy. The card seems to be a bit all over the place, especially since the mana is on the card art itself. Isochron Scepter. For 2 generic, you get an artifact that is a rare. Imprint. When this artifact enters, you may exile an instant card with mana value 2 or less from your hand. Tap to an it. You may copy the exile card. If you do, you may cast the copy without paying its mana cost. When it comes to this, the artwork is strange. I'm not the biggest fan of it. However, I do respect it because it's more of a comedy piece. This is like the 1980s workout videos that were absolutely everywhere around the 80s and 90s. And I do respect that. It kind of reminds me of, I know South Park made fun of it, but those exercises where it was like a vibrating thing that then shot out change. So again, the comedy aspect of it is hilarious. This is a broken card, has so many combo pieces and ways to just instantly win the game. So again, this is one of those cards that are absolutely amazing. It is very powerful. It's got funny art and the art quality is good. So again, bravo on this one. J, Junji the Midnight Sky. For 3 generic and 2 black, you get a legendary creature, Dragon Spirit, that is a mythic. Has flying and menace. When Judy dies, choose 1. Each opponent discards 2 cards and loses 2 life. Put target non-dragon creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control and lose 2 life. And is a 5/5. So there's a fair few things to say about this card. 1, It is very playable and such a good card, especially in a graveyard recursion deck. However, in the other advent calendar thing, they kind of did this where if there is a cycle of cards, I think they should have it as one Secret Lair. The artwork on this is one of my favorites in all of this. I find the artwork to be so good, and my favorite thing about it is that it's not messy. It is an easy card to read and also has beautiful, amazing art. It is also powerful. This, out of all the letters so far, is my favorite. The only downside is I would love to have the Cycle of Dragons in this art. But again, that's just me. K. Quark Clan Ironworks. For 4 generic, you get an artifact. Sacrifice an artifact, add 2 wastes. This reminds me of the old Adult Swim type of animations, like I think it was called Super Prison and stuff like that. I love this art style, I love this work, I find it so good. My only downside to this is that it is a quite good card. It's not the top-notch ones, like any of the alters are better. The artwork's amazing, however, it is so difficult to read. It's kind of all over the place. I had to actually kind of closely look to find the mana cost. And again, for some strange reason, they wasn't clicking what card it was, and I was looking for the mana pip. But because it's so colourful and so many different colours, I thought I would be missing it. But I do find this to be a good card, not one of the better ones. But again, I'm not expecting it all to be great, so I do think it is a worthy card to put in this, and I do think the artwork is probably the best bit about this. I think it is more of a collector's piece than a playable piece, but I still think it is a very playable piece. L for Leona War Elves. For a green, you get a creature elf druid that is a rare. Tap, add a green, and is a 1/1. I really do hope that they just make a Secret Lair of this with just a bunch of random elves or really good green cards in this artwork. I think this just having a single card is not good. Now again, I make a lot of videos on is it worth it, stuff like that, and talk about all the Secret Lairs, so there could be one in this art style. If there is, let me know, I just forgot. But I really do think that this is such a beautiful artwork and makes elves look way better than the actual elves in Magic the Gathering. This is what elves, in my opinion, should be, and I do think that it is absolutely beautiful and should have its own Secret Lair. And when it comes to playability, it is a very playable card, but it's not a pricey playable card. I think many people have spares of these. So as a premium product, yes, it's playable, but I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the card's like less than £1. M. Myral Shield of Argive. For 3 generic and a white, you get a legendary creature, human soldier, that is a rare. During your turn, your opponent can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifact, creatures, or enchantments. Whenever Myral attacks, create X 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens, where X is the number of soldiers you control, and is a 3/4. This is a fairly cool commander, especially because it stops abilities and activates and stuff like that. But also because it goes so well in a soldier deck, because you make soldiers and then make more and more and more, and then this can just go wide. I've mainly seen this in the 99 with better commanders that have 2 or 3 colors, but still a beautiful and great card. Now when it comes to the artwork, I love these type of artworks that the art is beautiful, but you still get to easily read the card. So again, this does that. This is such a beautiful card, but still very readable. N. Narset's Reversal. For 2 blue, you get an instant. Copy target instant and sorcery, then return it to its owner's hand. You may choose new target for the copy. They've done similar playing card type-esque things, but different. So the artwork is good. I do like the card-esque thing. However, the layout of it is a bit weird. It's not hard to read, but the fact that the text is like so thin at the bottom compared to the entire card, it is kind of a card you have to remember or keep constantly like looking close at. I'm not a big fan of the layout of this card and how it looks, but again, I can see a lot of people finding this to be very beautiful because again, art is objective and all of that. This is one of those rarer things that the art is actually worse than the card selection. I think the card selection is so good. Narset's Reversal is such a powerful card and be can used in many different ways and circumstances. Oh, Obnixilis the Fallen. For 3 generic and 2 black, you get a legendary creature demon that is a mythic. Landfall. Whenever a land you control enters the battlefield, you may have target player lose 3 life. If you do, put 3 1/1 counters on Obnixilis and is a 3/3. This is a great card, especially in Landfall. Doing 3 damage and being able to make Ob stronger is a cool thing to do, especially if you have a lot of Proliferate. Plus, in my opinion, I think Landfall is getting stronger and stronger each kind of year. I think that this could be one of those things that later on this will make a very powerful card and return that Obnixilis is a 10-10, 20-20, 30-30 with ease. P for Phyrexian Altar. For 3 mana, you get an artifact. Sacrifice a creature, add 1 mana of any colour. This card is the main card I've seen people want this for. Phyrexian Altar is such a powerful card and has so many combo things. I find the card easy to read. It is still in a weird kind of layout. It's not like I prefer the ones where it's kind of the same layout as a normal Magic card, just with a full beautiful art in it. But this one does a top-notch job. This card is one of those cards that the artwork is probably like an 8 or 9 out of 10, and then the card selection is the exact same. So this is the main focus that people want this for, and I understand why. This is one of the best cards overall in this Secret Lair. Q for Questing Beast. For 2 generic and 2 green, you get a legendary creature beast that is a mythic. Has Vigilance, Death Touch and Haste. Questing Beast can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Combat damage that would be dealt by creatures you control can't be prevented. Whenever Questing Beast deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker that player controls and is a 4/4. The artwork is so adorable and so cute. I absolutely love the artwork. This is also a very powerful green creature, especially to get rid of planeswalkers. You make this thing unblockable and power it up, you're getting rid of their planeswalker too without hard focusing on their planeswalker, which a lot of people do. I find this to be one of those cards that the card selection is probably maybe a 7 or 8, and then the art of the card is an 8 or 9, depending if you like this type of style. Me, with my years of animation and stuff like that, love this style. Absolutely love this card. R for Retrofitted Foundry. For 1 generic, you get an artifact that is a rare. Tap 3, untap this artifact. Tap 2 and it. Create a 1/1 colorless servo artifact creature token. Tap 1 in it. Sacrifice a servo, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token. Tap. Sacrifice a Thopter, create a 4/4 colorless construct artifact creature token. I've always been kind of a little bit of a softie when it comes to pixel art. I find pixel art to be, when it first was out I found it a bit weird, but now I find that it can be absolutely amazing and beautiful and really well done. This is one of those cool cards that I never see play, but I've never really seen someone's deck that their whole point is pretty much scrapping robots and then making them better. They usually are like servos, Thopter decks or construction decks, never kind of all 3 in one. With this card will actually be great for this. For 1 mana, this card is absolutely amazing, especially in a colorless kind of robot artifact deck, which I've seen a lot of people build. S. Soul Ring. For 1 generic, you get an artifact that is a rare. Tap, add 2 wastes. This is another card that people are enjoying that they are getting. This seems to be one of the better cards that people absolutely love, which I understand. The artwork is good, not my style, but good. I'm not the biggest fan that the only way to actually make this very legible is by adding the yellow blobs behind everything that needs to be read. My biggest problem is the fact that it's a Soul Ring. Soul Ring is one of those cards that people rather love or hate because they're like, oh, it's too broken, it's one of the most powerful Magic cards. It goes in every single deck, it's not fair and stuff like that, and I understand and agree. However, they've kind of gone down the other side that because everyone knows that Sol Ring is going to be in every deck and stuff like that, that they've gone a bit crazy with the different variations of artwork, and that they have like the 200 quid PlayStation 1. They're adding it for every single thing. There's now every like second or third Secret Lair has it. So this seems to be not, I'm going to say not good card selection. Not because of the card itself, because there's so many cards they could pick from that pretty much anything else. But second they get the chance to put Sol Ring in, it's overdone, it's overused. It's like the character in loads of like fighting games or League of Legends type of games, where the one character has way too many skins because people love it. And I understand, but if you're spending 200 quid on a product like this, getting another Sol Ring that's just going to be like, do you know what, I'm putting it in a deck just to get rid of a normal art Sol Ring, I'm not a fan of it. T, Temple of the False Gods. It's a land that is a rare. Tap, add 2 wastes. Activate only if you control 5 or more lands. This is where my little animation brain goes, yes, the old cartoons are my favorite. The old kind of Tom and Jerry, like really old cartoons are my favorite, and this style is something again, same with the pixel art, but way worse, I have a softness for. I actually bought one of the Secret Lairs because it was in this style. I love this style. Now the lands are, I've seen a lot of people hate these lands, and I understand why, because Sol Ring exists and people would rather put in a Sol Ring. However, to the point where I've seen people go, if this is in a pre-con, take it out straight away. I still think it is worth it. It is annoying if you have it in your opening hand that you have to wait, but I do think it's usually worth it after that. But again, I don't play really competitively, I just play more for fun. So I would probably be getting this card just to put in a deck, because again, it's mainly the art. So the card selection's hard to say on this one. It's very 50-50. It seems to be like you love these Temple of Gold, you love this land card, or you despise it. And if you are in between, you don't really have a strong opinion on it. U, Urza's Saga. It's an enchantment land that is a rare. 1. This saga gains tap, add a waste. 2. This saga gains tap 2 and it create a 0/0 colorless construct artifact creature token with this token gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control. Then for 3, search your library for an artifact card with mana value cost 0 or 1 and put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. This is one of those higher end cards where in my opinion the art beautiful, card selection beautiful. The only downside to me, and it could just be me here, is the text of all 3 stages seems to not match up with the art. It just seems to be, they probably didn't, but used like the comic stands for a very fancy art card. I do think this is a great selection. I do think this is a great card. I do love everything about it. It's just that small little thing, but I do think overall that this was a good choice. V, Vesuva. You get a land that is a rare. You may have this land enter tapped as a copy of any land on the battlefield. When I first saw this, I actually thought it was the land that brings all your stuff back if people steal your stuff. I think the artwork is very beautiful but very busy. I actually thought the Ventu of 1,000 land things was the name of the card until making this video. I do think that it becoming a land of anything on the battlefield but tapped is a bit meh, because it slows you down a turn, which is not a good thing. I've never seen this land played, so again, I don't know much about this land, if it is good or bad. So again, let me know in the comments down below what you think. So it's hard to say. I find the artwork is beautiful but quite busy. W, Wasteland. It's a land. Tap, add a waste, or tap, sacrifice this land, destroy target non-basic land. To be honest, I'm happy this isn't just a waste. I do think this is a weird card. The art is like an old western like movie poster, so that's cool. We get to see the Lion Man himself, cannot remember his name from the top of my head, which is again a good callback. The art great card overall. The card selection, I cannot name a card starting with W from the top of my head that is a better choice, but I feel like there's probably better choices, especially because I do find lands as secret layers not good unless there's something that are absolutely outstanding. Pretty much anything from filter lands upwards, again depending on the product. X, Enchantress Sleeper Agent. For 1 generic, a black and a red, you get a legendary creature Phyrexian minion that is a rare. Enchanter enters the battlefield under the control of an opponent of your choice. Enchanter attacks each combat if able and can't attack its owner or planeswalkers its owner controls. For 3, Enchanter's controller loses 2 life and draws a card. Any player may activate this ability, and is a 5/5. This is such a weird card, but in my opinion a very good and powerful one. I do like it and I do like the artwork, but the way Magic's been going the last few years, I say maybe 5-6 years ago, this was a great and powerful card. Now it seems to be in the forgotten pile. I do think the artwork pretty much portrays her very well and how the card ability works. I just think the card selection, but again cannot think of a name, but I do think when it comes to these type of last letters, card selections are going to lower a lot than some of the other ones. Y, Yarok the Deserted. For 2 generic, a black, a green and a blue, you get a legendary creature, Elemental Horror, that is a mythic. Has Death Touch and Lifelink. If a permanent enters, causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers additional time and is a 3/5. Drink every time I say the word triggered. I think this card is absolutely amazing. I think this is one of those cards that the artwork is top notch. I think the card selection is top notch. It is not really a commander I've seen, but it is because of its unique triggered ability, triggering triggered abilities, is a card I'll constantly see people wanting and in the 99 for how good it is. Z, Zozu the Punisher. For 1 generic and 2 red, you get a legendary creature, Goblin Warrior, that is a rare. Whenever a land enters, Zozu deals 2 damage to that land's controller and is a 2/2. Such an old card with a really weird ability that I've actually seen only used a handful of times when someone's hard focusing on treasures and artifacts. I do think this is cool, especially if like red sources deal extra damage and then the damage doublers and triplers. If you're hard focusing on one of those decks that the whole point is to slowly burn out your opponents. Now again, it comes with its upsides and downsides. When it comes to the art of this, I think it is a very well done art, very cool style, just not my type of art. But again, if I had a friend or someone I knew that was like, this card is beautiful, it's one of my favorites, I would completely agree and not argue with them, because I know like a lot of people don't like the old 20s to 60s animation stuff as much as I do. So that would be their variation of it. A lot of these cards, in my opinion, are kind of love letters from the history of Magic, which, to be honest, I think they're destroying with all the Magic universes beyond stuff. But again, I have made a video on that. So I do like this as a premise. I do think overall it was done well. There was few cards that I'm like, come on now. The art selection and working with many different artists, I say that wasn't easy. But again, it is a product that I think they should actually be proud of. I think it's one of their better ones they've done the last few years. However, I've seen a lot of people not happy with the price tag. However, in saying that, it sold out so fast that I see a lot of people not being able to complain. If your price tag is high and you're still being sold out, then as a business standpoint, put the price up. If people are willing to pay for it, people are willing to pay for it, which again sounds, as someone that gets annoyed when something's overpriced, completely understand, but I also understand there's usually the business mindset. I do feel like some of these cards are a bit of a cheap out, a bit of a cop out. If you are playing a premium product, I know they say a lot of times they don't focus on the secondary market, but a lot of these cards are way underpriced in my opinion, but again, it's then matched out because then there's some cards that are overly priced, so again, I say it's completely worth it. Then plus I say when these cards are out and on the secondary market, their prices are going to fluctuate compared to the original arts. Not gonna lie, I actually personally think this is way more a collector's item than it is anything else. I think as a collector's piece, it is probably an 8.2. I would love to see this fully framed or something like that, or on, you know, the shelves, but it has like all the card selections on it. I do think this is more of a art piece by a long shot. When it comes to playable cards, I do think there was more than I originally thought, but still not the best. The separation of these cards is going to be the thing that annoys me the most. I think overall I would give the playability part of it a 6.2. There is a lot of cards that are definitely playable no matter what you do, but then there's some cards that I'm like, you will never see in a deck unless you are that person that hard focuses on one, but there's so many different variations of them. The one person putting use to all 26 of these cards, I don't see happening. But they're my thoughts and opinions on all of this. I actually did enjoy making this video. So again, if you like this, let me know in the comments down below. If there's anything I missed or anything like that, again, let me know in the comments down below. If you would buy this or what cards you would have loved to see in it in any different form of art style, let me know in the comments down below. While you're there, remember to like and subscribe and do all that other YouTubey stuff we always ask for. And as always, if you like this, I have last week's Is It Worth It here, a playlist of all the Is It Worth It Magic the Gathering stuff I make here, and a subscribe button here, and I shall see you all in the next video.